it's a perfect timing that we're in suits. It just lined up perfectly. Kevin has gone through a couple of interviews this week, haven't you, Kev? How did you go with the interviews?
Yes, I
Give
have.
us
We are going to spend the next however long teaching you guys how to interview.
Yes. Especially because this is the fresh graduate. I was about to say program again. Podcast. We really want you guys to sign up. No, this is the fresh graduates podcast, and I think that is one big major flaw that we missed in high school. There was not really a subject to teach you how to present yourself in a podcast, to talk in a podcast, and especially like what
In a podcast or in an interview?
Oh, sorry, in an interview.
In an interview?
Sorry, yeah, in an interview. And then plus there's like group settings as well. How much more nerve-wracking is that? When was your first group setting interview?
First one was earlier this year. I actually hadn't done a group interview my whole life.
Oh, really?
Until earlier this year. And I hated it because you have to try and one-up every single other person in the room. Or try to. When was yours?
Yeah, I think... But then don't you reckon the interviewee can kind of figure out that like, oh, this guy's trying a little bit too hard? Or like, is that the main aim? Do you have to one-up everyone in the thing? Or is it more just be yourself? What do you reckon?
I think it's better to stand out in that setting. I think that's what they're looking for, rather than being the little guy waiting for the opportunity.
And then sometimes you can be like I'm gonna try to act cool and casual.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stand out. But my first group interview, I don't know if you know this, I got through the second stage to work at Bunnings.
Oh, Bunnings.
Yeah. And it was a group interview. And if you guys don't know, those for our non-Australian listeners, Bunnings is probably like a core part of an Australian like culture, don't you reckon? Like with Bunnings, it's a tradie, what is it?
It's the proper hardware store.
Yeah. And basically you have to have really good customer service. And if you guys have never like gone to Bunnings, they're the most nicest people, and they just can talk to you for ages. And there's so many memes online about like Bunnings employees, and they're just like, oh, where's the iPod I lost like 5 years ago? Oh, it's over here, because they know every single thing.
And there's like 70 aisles, and they memorize every single aisle.
They're the best people. Shout out to Bunnings.
And they make the best sausages.
Oh, yeah. But it's up, what is it, $1.50 now?
Is it?
Sad, guys.
Damn.
Yeah, no, my first group interview was as soon as I graduated high school. And this is while I was working at Coles as well. I was going to try to double job it, mate. And sounded worse than it. And basically what they're looking for is that type of customer service that Bunnings provides. And it was like, it shocked me what they ask you in the group setting. So first it's like, oh, like, how are you? Like, what? Tell me something about yourself. What do you do? And I feel like that part I was a bit confident. But then there was the second part. They're just like, all right, here's this glass container, like for your glasses. Sell it to me.
Oh, if only you watched Wolf of Wall Street before that interview.
And that was the first part, and it was so awkward. And it's like, oh, this is a really nice looking, like, you know, it's tough, whatever, blah blah blah. And then there was another one, a next question, and then they're just like, all right, we're gonna ask you a question, and you have to reply in a mannerly way. And if you don't know how to answer to it, you just have to like be honest and say like, oh, it's over there, blah blah blah. There's other people that are gonna help you in that section. So let me ask you this. So this is the question they asked me. All right. So this let me know how you would answer this. They're just like, okay, so I'm the customer, you're the Bunnings employee.
Hello, sir. How are you going today?
I'm good, thanks. Oh, I was just looking for toilets.
Toilets? Yeah, sure. Just down aisle 70 over there. If you just walk straight down here and take a left and then take a right after that, you'll be right there.
What do you reckon's the best toilet that I could buy?
Personally, I don't have too much experience with different types of toilets, But anything that has like maybe a seat warmer, if you're into things like that,
Yeah.
or something with a easily accessible flush button, something like that will be suitable.
Wow,
for
you are such a great help. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you for coming into Bunnings
And that's
today.
why you would probably have been hired during that time. What I said was, I was just like, this is how now you ask me. You're the interviewee, but I'm the Bunnings employee. Okay, go.
Hey, excuse me, sir, where can I find the drills?
No, it's the toilet
Oh, it has to
question.
be toilet?
They
Oh.
actually asked me about the toilet.
Excuse me, sir, where can I find the toilets?
Oh, it's down over there. And then you have to ask me like, oh, what's the best?
Where about? Oh, what's the best toilet?
Yeah.
What's the best toilet?
What's the best toilet to buy? I actually don't know. You can ask the people there. And that's how I answered. And basically, I didn't get that job, And
Well, you had
it was
another
a sad-
job anyway.
Yeah. It was a sad time because
And who asked that anyway?
that's what I think. It was a trick to get to me, man.
Oh, trick.
Because there was other people there that they probably wanted to give the job. Because the other guys, right? They got like, oh, what type of hammer should I buy? Or what type of mower should I buy? And the guys that answered, they're like, oh, there's a diesel one. There's one that's like electric. And I was like,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I didn't know it
Okay.
either. But all these answers were so great. And then out of nowhere, they asked me toilet. I'm just like, dude, what else do you do with the toilet? You just flush it. That's it. But now I would know how to answer.
Well, you kind of got finessed in that situation.
I
But
think
at
I
the
did.
same time, they couldn't give you hammer as well. You would have been prepared.
Yeah,
They had to give you something different.
Yeah. But man, that one was a tough one. But with your interviews this week, what do you reckon? Like you did well. What do you reckon you didn't do well in?
Number one most important thing you have to do before an interview
Go ahead.
is starts with an R, ends with a research. Research the company.
Uh-huh.
It is the most important thing you can do and
Yep.
the most important thing you need to do.
Why is that?
Because they're going to ask you questions about the company, such as, have you seen our YouTube channel? Do you know what we do? Such and such, things like that. And you have to be like, yes. And they'll say something such as, what do you think about it? And you have to explain yourself. And sometimes you can dig yourself in a little bit of a hole.
Yeah. Did you go in? Is this experience from regret or experience from like satisfaction that you actually did what you're saying?
Middle ground. Middle ground. I did some research,
Yeah.
but I didn't. Actually, I hope they hire me before this podcast comes out.
Yeah.
But I did some research, but not as much as I should have.
This is gonna be awesome because we're gonna see Kev's progress through life when he gets this jobs that he's been applying for, and it's. I hope you do get it, man. You've
Thanks,
you've
man.
been working so hard to apply for so many jobs, but give me another tip or something bad that you did.
Here's one thing that I could have done a lot better on. They gave me a hypothetical, right? They told me to rank these 3 things in order of importance.
Oh, wait, sorry. Just for the listeners, just a heads up. Kev's applying for like film companies, basically. So go ahead.
So they told me final product is one of them. Well-being of people.
Wait, what's this?
Final product.
Of
Like
what?
what's more important? What's the most important?
Oh, are these principles or
These are just like steps and processes.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So final product, wellness of people, and processes. So I said processes because I thought I could describe processes the best.
Okay.
Like processes are like how you do things,
Yeah.
like your routine, all that stuff.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. And then what was the real answer? What was the right one?
I think the right answer is well-being of people.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's...
But that's the thing. I don't care.
You're in the service industry.
I don't care.
Wait, that's how you answered? What did you hear what else the other people answered?
No, it
Or
was just me.
this is a different one.
This is
Yeah.
a different one. In my group interview, though,
Yep.
they paired us up into 2s,
Mm.
and they got us to explain ourselves to each other, and they got me to explain my partner.
Oh,
the group.
to show how well you were listening.
Yeah.
Oh, did you listen well?
I remembered her name and what she did. That was it.
Oh man, because it's pretty nerve-wracking
Yeah.
being in that situation, especially for those that when you graduate. I mean, most people didn't really have jobs during high school; they only get it after high school.
Yeah,
And-
we went to private school, so we didn't need to work.
We're still paying it back to this day. What are you on about?
Some of us might be.
Then private school fees are insane.
No, we got that hex fee to pay off too.
Yeah. Yeah, they never. We had a careers subject, but it wasn't really catered to getting a real life job. It was more like pathways into different, courses, but nothing. Yeah, I don't. Do you remember anything?
They taught us how to get into uni, basically. They never taught us.
How to get a job?
They never taught us taxes or
That's the problem with school.
like hex and all this other stuff. And now we're just copying it in our face right now.
They're teaching you just how to be a 9 to 5 worker. You know what they should do in schools, Kev? Teach you how to start your own podcast.
But then everyone would have a podcast.
Yeah, well,
And then we'd be saturated out.
oh, that's true. How to start
Bike shop?
Oh,
Ooh.
interesting. Well, that could be coming in the future.
How to start a gym?
Ooh, run it back.
Oh. Say that again.
Well,
So do your research
Yeah.
when you're about to go into an interview, everyone.
is that all your
That
advice?
is that is the most important piece of advice.
That's it.
Also, ask questions.
True.
Ask questions when they're at the end of the interview, when they go, "Do you have anything for us?"
What's the salary?
How many days do I get off?
How how much sick leave do I have?
Can I bring my dog into the office?
Yeah, the ask questions is pretty critical. I feel that that will help so much for like showing that you actually researched into the company, you're curious. I think a good advice that I always read was that whatever you say, make it relatable to the job. So when they ask you like, oh, what are your favorite hobbies? Don't be like, oh, I love to run around and with the butterflies and just look at them and analyze them. No, but like I remember, I get this guy out.
All right then.
I remember for Coles, which is my first job. If you guys have listened in the last few episodes, I remember them asking me that question. What's your favorite? Like, what do you do in your spare time? And this is the most cheesiest answer.
Oh, I stack shelves.
This is the most cheesiest answer. I was like, oh, I love to play guitar. I love to draw because it inspires me. And I'm just like, I'm like this. I love to go to the gym because like it like molds my character and like strengthens me. I said all that.
Helps you stack shelves.
And
Going to the gym.
I ended up getting that job. So
Maybe that wasn't the reason you got the job. Maybe it was another question.
well,
Maybe that was just like
they hit me with some pretty hard questions from memory. Do you want me to ask you the one that they asked me that
all right.
stumbled me? Do you know what OH&S is?
Yes.
So they asked me this. Have you ever experienced a situation where you're like you might compromise OH&S, and what did you do in it?
There was one time when I was working, filming local football, and they made me get up onto a roof to film the match.
I'm sorry.
And it was rainy and very windy that day, and I held the umbrella in one hand and the camera in the other hand.
So you did break OH&S.
I broke it, but I made a very good final product, so that is why you should hire me.
Oh. See, so my answer, I think the idea is you're not supposed to break it.
Well, I was young. I didn't know, man.
Because that's the thing. Like, if they say, like, what are the worst like traits about you? Like, what's your weakness? That's what they ask.
I like work too hard.
No, that's the thing. I remember you have to kind of like bring it back to the point where it speaks positively about you. So I say like, my weaknesses are I take on too much work, but then to overcome that, I make a list and prioritize what's first. But with going back to the OH&S question, they asked me, oh, that OH&S question, and I said I work with my dad, like using the ladder, and there's sometimes that like There's things that you can step on just to get to like a certain platform that you want to go up to. And I would always say, no, Dad, like use the ladder. And that's how I answer that, because I think breaking OH&S, I mean, they could get sued and
You
lose.
can't do that. If you get injured, it's on them.
Yeah. What?
If you get injured,
Yeah.
it's on whoever's. It's on the company. It's on the store.
True.
But also remember, we're answering these questions at 25. I would not be able to answer this at 21.
Hey, I answered that at 21.
You answered it. I would have been like,
Yeah. You got to come really prepared.
Yeah.
Ask every question and
do your research.
Yeah. Come in prepared and do your research.
Come in willing and keen. Just like how we come in doing this podcast.
Because we're going back to, I guess, our first jobs. Do you have a funny story? Because in your let's not name the job that you worked at. Oh, should we? It doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he worked at Woolies.
Yes, I did work at Woolies.
So what's Woolies for the non-Australian listeners?
Woolies used to be called Safeway, which I still call Safeway.
There was something else before it, not Safeway. Oh no, sorry, that's Coles. I'm sorry.
What was Coles called before?
Bilo.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. For the young listeners, yeah, that's what we grew up. That's what we grew up with. So at Woolies, for my job interview, they asked me why I wanted to be there, and you know what I said?
Go ahead.
I said because I need the money.
They swear.
Swear.
Oh.
And they hired me.
Wow. They liked your confidence.
So my manager said to me like 2-3 years after, he goes, "You know why I hired you that day, Kevin? Because you were being honest."
Oh.
And everyone else came in and they were like, "Oh, I really like this company, blah, 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 blah."
But then,
and you were just like, "I'm here just to make some money." So yeah.
And
thanks, manager.
Your manager loved you as well.
This was another manager, the previous one. Yeah.
But you could say something along the lines of, "I want to build my like customer service." I think that should be
well,
true as well.
at 20 years old, I wasn't really thinking about that.
That's not why you're really applying, right? You actually just need the money.
Just need the money.
But I remember some of the funniest stories at Coles, because my Coles, it was there were so many crackheads there at my Coles.
Employees or customers?
Both. No, but a lot of customers, because it's in how do I say this? How do I say this lightly?
The West Side.
Yeah, it's in a ghetto area, basically. And there were so many crackheads that would steal. And that was the first time I really saw like people stealing a lot of things. And what people steal at Coles, they be stealing like razors, they be stealing meat, stealing like pack of cigarettes, and it's a lot of money.
How do you steal cigarettes? Because you have to go to the counter for them.
Yeah, there's a way, but I don't want to. I don't want to say it because I'm probably gonna be working back there again. So
yeah, so rest in peace to David's schedule and anyone trying to message.
We're gonna keep making this podcast work. I promise you guys. No, don't worry about that. But yeah, I'm going back to that employee. But some of the funniest stories are with crackheads. But a memorable story that I remember is when my manager ran over his foot with the pallet jack.
Oh.
Yeah, and this. It was because this goes back to the OH&S thing that you reminded me. And this, when it happened, he basically couldn't work ever again, and Coles had to pay him out. So,
but he did that to himself, in a way.
It's an electric pallet jack.
So he wasn't driving it?
He was driving it.
So how did he run over his own foot?
Because if you go around the corner and you're too like tight to the corner, it can actually run your foot over.
You know how to drive, huh?
A little bit, but yeah, that's my memorable story.
Well, good riddance to that guy.
Yeah, feels bad. No, I hope you're doing well, and you know who you are if you're ever listening to this story. You were a really good manager.